Yo, what's good YouTube? It's boardzy, and this is finally going to be a review of the Wooting 60HE, a 60% version of the Wooting 2HE that they released back in 2021. And if you watched my review, I love this keyboard, I love the features, but the full size, it's just too much for me, man. So I'm really happy that they finally come out with the 60% version. This unit was sent out for a review. This obviously will be an unbiased review. I'm going to compare the Wooting 60 to the new SteelSeries Apex Pro Mini because I've been getting just tons of comments asking for that. And yeah, I'm going to get right into it. So first off, features-wise, this keyboard is the same as the full-size Wooting 2HE. So if you're familiar with features like rapid trigger, analog movement, dynamic keystrokes, adjustable actuation, all of that is still going to be on the Wooting 60HE. I will go over those features later, but yeah, the main change is really the format. Obviously with the Apex Pro, the Apex Pro Mini, main change is the format as well. So which of these keyboards is better? They're at a similar price point of like $175 for the Wooting, $180 for SteelSeries. The honest answer from a Fortnite perspective is these are damn near the same. And the reason I say from a Fortnite perspective is because there are already things like Wooting's own double movement software, Keys 2X, that emulate analog input. So the difference between Wooting having it and the Apex Pro Mini not having it doesn't really matter when you're still going to get double movement from the software. But if you do obviously play other games, I know it's big for racing games, just anything where you actually do need like the native analog input, then Wooting is going to outclass the SteelSeries Apex Pro Mini features-wise. I just want to quickly go over actuation points. As everyone knows, the Wooting 60HE can go down to 0.1 millimeters of actuation, while the SteelSeries Apex Pro Mini is 0.2 millimeters. Is this 0.1 millimeter going to make a massive difference? No, I think that was clearly obvious. The difference between 0.1 and 0.2 millimeters is not going to make or break your game. You're not going to lose or win a fight because of that 0.1 millimeter. And on these actuation points, these keyboards honestly performed great. I have no issues with the performance of either keyboard, really. Both of these are just top tier gaming keyboards. Wooting especially just fully featured out. I didn't really mention rapid trigger. So rapid trigger is somewhat hard to explain. I totally botched it in my review of the Wooting 2HE. Basically, it allows you to activate a key before the key is fully reset. So what most people are used to is you press it, you let it go back to the top, and then you press it again. But with rapid trigger, you can press it when it's just like halfway rebounded, basically, and you can choose the distance it has to rebound. So this feature is really popular for strafe heavy games like TAC FPS, I'd imagine, like Quake, Apex. But for Fortnite, it's just not something that it really makes a massive difference, in my opinion. Especially if you've been using the Apex Pro for 2 years, you're just going to be used to the way mechanics feel with that, and I just don't really think there's as much of a benefit with rapid trigger for Fortnite compared to other games. But if any Fortnite players disagree with me, be sure to let me know. So like I said, I kind of just went over some of the core features for gaming, and the Wooting definitely has more to offer, but if you are just strictly using these keyboards in game, the general experience is going to be similar for Fortnite. So I hope this video has not turned off all non-Fortnite players, because now I'm actually just going to get into the keyboard. So this is a 60% obviously, but there is a feature called Mod Tap that actually allows you to basically just have arrow keys, which is crazy. So with the FN button, I can either hold it to have the actual FN input, or I can just tap it and have the right arrow key input. I look at Mod Tap as more of a quality of life feature. I'm sure that some people do use it for gaming, but I definitely just mainly use it for the arrow keys. And I would be complaining that this is not a 65% keyboard if that was not a feature. So I'm really happy that Wooting implemented that, and that is a small thing that just does kind of make it better than the Apex Pro, because with the Apex Pro, I gotta click this key, then they have the arrows bound to WASD. It's actually a nightmare, so I do prefer just being able to tap and get the arrow key input. In terms of like quality and stuff, this is a plastic case. It does have a like little bit of heft to it, but definitely not like a 8-pound custom keyboard. The stabilizers are pre-lubed, the Lecker switches are also pre-lubed, so in terms of like sound and stuff, it's not gonna be the best keyboard you've ever heard. Oh shit, I'm like fucking breaking my monitor. Come on. I'm gonna leave that part in. So I'm going to do a quick sound test of the Wooting 60HE and the Apex Pro Mini. First off, the stabilizers. honestly not bad, as you can hear, for like a pre-built gaming keyboard. The normal keys do have like a pretty clacky sound to it. I think that's just due to the plastic case, but the overall feel is really smooth and good. The Apex Pro Mini, this guy's a rattly fuck though, you can't lie. Definitely does not have the same like quality feeling to it, but I've never been one to really complain about that. Something worth noting though with the Apex Pro Mini is it does have a lighter spring weight. So the switches are going to feel lighter. I'm not sure what the exact spec is. Presuming it's the same as the Apex Pro, the spring weight on the OmniPoints is 45 grams, while I believe it's 55 on the Wooting, but I do think they're making an option for lighter springs on the Lecker switches, and I'll be sure to try that out whenever it's available. But yeah, the Apex Pro Mini, the keys are going to feel slightly faster, just like when you press them down, but in-game, it's not something that really took me any adjusting. It's just a slightly heavier key press on the Wooting. And yeah, I would say the overall typing experience is going to be better on the Wooting 60HE. So if you're looking for a keyboard that will excel at both gaming and just general use, I would say Wooting definitely takes the cake there. If you're just wanting a keyboard with good global availability that's going to perform fast in the 60% layout, then the Apex Pro Mini is probably a better option. But when it comes down to like which of these is the better keyboard, I think it is pretty clearly the Wooting, just features wise, software wise. Oh yeah, that's another thing. They have the software available just on Google now, like just any Chromium based browser. That's pretty crazy. I've never seen something like that. I would definitely prefer if more companies started doing that so I wouldn't have to have so much shit on my PC. There's an RGB effect that shows how much you're actually pressing down the key, so you can see for those lower actuation points just how little you actually have to press the key versus bottoming out. It obviously lights up all of the RGB. So it's just a way to show off how sensitive that these keys are. And yeah, at the end of the day, like I said, both keyboards, the Wooting 60HE and the Apex Pro Mini, are going to perform great in game. Wooting is, in my opinion, without a doubt, a more well-rounded keyboard, and I feel like this, I don't know, it just seems like a pretty low-effort release from SteelSeries, but it's still a good keyboard performance-wise. One thing with Wooting is you do not have any, like, what are they called, side legends on the keycap showing, like, the secondary bindings, so it's really going to be on you to remember it. They do show it in the software as well, but I do think just for ease of access, it's a bit more simple having the side legends shown on SteelSeries. Both of these keyboards have PBT keycaps. SteelSeries used to use ABS, and good God, that was the end of the world. The PBT ones, they feel all right. Same thing with Wooting's PBT. They aren't as textured, but I don't know, they just perform well. And of course, the keyboards have USB-C for a detachable cable. This is the stock cable that comes with the Wooting. Obviously fits their like black and yellow scheme. And I never am one to really talk about the box, but I do think that this box is pretty cool. They put all of the names of the people who like funded their project basically on the box. So I don't know, I just personally found that pretty sick. Also, there are no kickback feet on the Wooting 60HE, while there are kickback feet on the Apex Pro Mini, but there is also dampening foam in the 60HE, while there is no form of dampening in the Apex Pro Mini. So I'm happy basically with everything on the Wooting 60HE. I will be giving it the seal of approval. Just honestly probably the best gaming keyboard that has ever been made. I'm going to keep using it as my main. I really don't see myself maining the Apex Pro Mini over it, but like I said before, if you're just looking for a keyboard with adjustable actuation point, good linear switches, 60% format, that you can just like go to a store and buy, then the Apex Pro Mini is a perfectly fine option. I will still drop a full review of it at some point though. But yeah, the Wooting 60HE, a truly incredible keyboard. I would say it really did deliver considering the long wait times. Another thing you can actually do with this is you can put the PCB in whatever case you want. It doesn't have to just be this plastic case if that's a turnoff to you. So if you have some like nice 60% keyboard case, you can mount this in there. I would obviously not do that, but I don't know, that maybe there's some people where that's like a huge feature. And yeah, that's about all for this video. The Lecker switch is really what makes this keyboard similar to OmniPoints. It uses Hall effect switches, but the Wooting keyboard just allows you to do so much more. Like SteelSeries very well could have all of the features like rapid trigger, mod tap, they could put the actuation down to 0.1 millimeters. They just choose not to, which is why I'm saying if you're just looking for a feature-packed keyboard, like the most features for your dollars, Wooting is going to offer that. And the just general experience using the keyboard has not been bad. In fact, it's been good enough for me to stop using the Apex Pro after literally over 2 years of maining it. So that's going to be all for this review. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and yeah, I'll put a link in the description for the keyboard.